Welcome to Verbal Pick Radio, where we give you a verbal image of life, and we are everyday people. Look, y'all, I was knocked out. I'm talking about sleep, gone to the world, right? Turn on the TV. Something woke me up. Clicked on the TV, flash about a mass shooting in New Zealand by Australian-born white supremacist, racist, who killed over 49 people between two mosques. Went from one mosque, shot up, went to the next mosque, shot that one up. And then they started elaborating on his manifesto that he left behind. And he basically was saying that New Zealand was white land. He didn't want the mixing of the races. He said that if he got arrested, he plead not guilty because he's a combat in war, defending white people. In so many words. And everyone is like, dude, you're not even from New Zealand. You were born in Australia. And we all know who was in Australia first. It was the Aborigines. We all know who was in New Zealand first. It was the Maori people. Now, that's Maori. That means black. Maroon means black. Morenos, black. That haka dance, Haka dance, that comes from the original black man. The dance that you saw when that Catholic school students, and they all had the red mega hats on, and who surrounded the Native American and was doing that haka dance, comes from black people. Now, in 1642, the first European to hit New Zealand was Abel Tasman. He was the first to hit New Zealand, right? He was working with the Dutch East Indian Company as a navigator, sent out to explore lands. The king and queen would send these explorers out. They find land first, but they try to rob the people of the gold. Put some in their pocket first, then they'd go back and report their discovery. Then the king and queen would send ships of Caucasians who'd come into the indigenous lands and take the land, rape the women. It's just historical fact. And then you see the whole makeup of the island starts to change. I mean, that's what happened here in North America, from Canada, Australia, New Zealand. And so over time, they killed so many indigenous and brought in so many Europeans to where now you had a majority European and you had less indigenous. But they kept the indigenous around because they had been there for thousands of years. They know the land. They had to learn from them. You're a newcomer on somebody else's land. Now, you have indigenous people. Yeah, you have the indigenous people who are coming back to their original lands and repopulating the land And now you have the Caucasian who's saying, wait a minute, wait a minute. Uh, you can't come and populate and do this on our land. And they're like, well, my ancestors been here for thousands and thousands of years before we even knew a white man existed. But the historical scholars are part to blame simply because they research and study the history, but they don't put it out to the public. So what that does is it has one group of people unaware of historical facts, and they act on assumptions, which you can't hold assumptions up. You can't present your argument based upon what you thought to be or what you assumed it to be. That would create a mental psychosis, which what happened to this individual, 28-year-old Australian born. In his mind, he thought that New Zealand was white land. He probably thinks that Australia is white land. And he's defending, it's a misnomer. You're defending something and you put all this energy and vigor and you get the guns and you're ready to go out there and kill for the sake of white land when it was never white land. So at the end of the day, you made an ass out yourself. Same with you in New Zealand shooting up mosques when the Maori people were black and most of the Moors was Muslims. But that shows you the lack of education. No, that shows you Hollywood. Hollywood put out this pristine, clean, white image that made white people believe that they are the people in the movies. That's why so many people were upset with the college scandal with Becky from Full House and the other white female who being charged with bribery with these colleges for getting their children into colleges by paying money, defraud the scholastic system. And people are like, what though? Not Becky from Full House. She wouldn't do anything like that. Come on. Don't that image of the pristine Caucasian was just Hollywood makeup. They do dirt. Hell, look what's happening to your president's cabinet. Somebody close to the president is getting arrested every day or resigning or quitting. I mean, come on, it is what it is. So for that individual in his warped sense of thinking, he believes that these islands that were inhabited by the indigenous people, why you think you had to leave Europe? Because you were in search of wealth. You wanted spices. You wanted all the things that Europe wasn't. And you trapped in this cold, damp climate. You wanted to come out to where the original people were. Now, the original people accepted you. It was like, yeah, come on in, man. Enjoy yourself. Hey, okay, you walking on two legs. You seem to be a human being. We might not have ever seen you before. We know who inhabited the planet Asia or at the time from Africa to the Americas, all over, and they were black. We know we knew each other, but it was some first time seeing this Caucasian fella. But they like, come on in, man. Let's sit down, swap stories. Let's learn from each other. And that was it. They had no idea that they were coming with fleets of ships and was getting ready to confiscate their lands. So so over time, as history progressed and people evolve, it's like you can't make the statement that you're taking over our lands when it wasn't your land to begin with in the first place. Christ Church wasn't named Christ Church when the Maoris or the indigenous people were in control of it. And if they were so savage, why are you spending all this time and money to go to these islands to get the gold and the silver? They had wealth, meaning you're not finna risk life and limb to make a voyage to places that had no benefit. If all the benefit was in Europe, you stayed in Europe. And everybody else would leave their homeland and travel to Europe where the wealth and the riches were. Europe got its wealth and riches from robbing the indigenous people for a long time. So, I don't know how they're going to spin this in the media because the knowledge is prevalent. I don't know how they're going to twist it some kind of way, but you got good writers in Hollywood now. They can come up with some elaborate, the reason why this and this is that, and they going to move this over here and drop this down a little bit and raise this up and twist this right here and bend it and stretch it over here and bam, throw it out to the gullible public and see if they bite on it. Because I'm already hearing some newscasters who you can tell they're getting fed up with it. They're like, hey, why isn't there any money spent to watch these radical white groups on the same scale as any other group you deem to be radical? Now, the Prime Minister of New Zealand, she seems pretty like she's up on it. But she didn't go more in detail on the Aboriginal side. She didn't go more in detail on who was there. Stop covering up history and stop covering up the facts, because you make the situation worse. Because although you yourself might not be radical, but withholding information from the radical makes them believe that their mission is just. You see what I'm saying? You make them believe that they're doing it for a just cause when actually you sending them out there on a fool's errand because you willing to risk life and limb and imprisonment based upon a lie. So you get nothing. You got sand. You get sand. Like in the movie, you got sand, Django. You got sand. You got sand, Australia. Austria. You got sand. You got nothing. You fighting for a cause that don't even exist. It don't exist. Now, Can we give you? Okay, we'll give you Europe. No, I tell you what, not Europe. We'll give you, let's say, Northern Europe. We'll give you the land of the Visigoths. You fighting for that area in the land of the Visigoths, the indigenous over there. Okay, cool, because we'll let you have that, even though the original man populated the whole planet. But okay, we'll give you the land of the Visigoths. And if you say we fight for, okay, we can say that that might be one of the oldest Caucasian tribes in Europe. So you fight for the area they had. Oh, now that would make sense somewhat. But to come and say I'm fighting for that America, Canada, New Zealand, Australia, Hawaii, South Africa, Africa, and you said this is white land, it doesn't make any sense. I guess I'm saying, meaning, although you had left Europe and conquered indigenous islands and land, still don't make it your land. Meaning you can't go back prior to the indigenous and say you were there. Now, and that's why some of the Caucasian historians are starting not to be believed, because people catch on to the twists and turns, so you can try to fit yourself in indigenous land, and it doesn't work like that. It don't work. You can't. You dig a deeper hole when you try to do that. You dig a deeper hole when you go to Egypt and try to paint over the pictures and make them white. It don't work. Don't do it. You causing more damage than you know, because the original people of these islands didn't have a problem with you. They were all about peace. It wasn't about deception. So when the indigenous people get tired of being deceived, then they gonna call you on your work, on your merit, on your actions, and say, okay, that's it, prove it. I have my facts, got my evidence, you prove yours. And this is for the supremists, the radicals, the ones who try to create a narrative that's not true.